Hey Village, welcome back. And if you're new here, welcome to your Marriage Village, where I provide resources to foster healthy marriages. So it's been a little bit. I have been away, and I really do apologize for the delay. I know it's been almost over a month or so, but part of the reason is that I've been doing some work for myself in order to be able to better serve my clients and give myself some self-care. So kind of practicing what I preach. What that means is I am now transitioning into private practice. And what that is going to do is free me up some to be able to not only serve my clients well, but to also focus on some of the things that are near and dear to me, which are things like my charity work, my writing, etc. So for those of you who know me, you know that I do a lot of research and a lot of writing. And I also have a project in Liberia, West Africa for girls. I'm helping them experience trauma resolution. So all of that good stuff is coming together for me, but that's why I've been away. So be patient with me. I'm going to be in and out, but I'm going to try to be consistent with the videos going forward. All right. So for today, what I want to talk about, and if you're watching this and you're new, feel free to subscribe and become a part of our family here at the Village. Okay. Now, I want to talk about supporting your spouse. This is an issue that I have been getting a lot recently in my sessions with my couples. It is always the issue of, I feel as if my spouse is not supporting me, or the spouse will say, I'm doing everything that I know how to support my spouse, but he or she doesn't feel supported still. So let's talk about what this support looks like in a marriage. John Gottman is one of our pioneer in marriage research. We have a few of them. The two known ones are John Gottman and Sue Johnson. So John Gottman talks about something he calls dreams within conflict. And what that simply means is, for every conflict the couple has, normally what is happening is that one person feels as if, or maybe both feel as if, they're losing the dreams that they had for the marriage. Okay, so if I had a dream that my marriage would be one where me and my partner would be best friends, and we get married and that isn't happening, then what Gottman is arguing, and it's been proven to be true, is that I'm going to begin to build anger and resentment. And so most of the time, so when we have couples fighting, they're fighting because they feel as if they're losing the dream, right? So the conflict is really centered around a dream. Now, this is why it's so important for us to not just communicate, as you always hear me say on here. Everybody say we need to communicate. It's true, we need to communicate, but what we need to do is communicate effectively, right? So this is why it's so important for us to have effective communication, because the only way I can know, understand, support my spouse's dreams is if I am curious and exploring with my spouse and asking the questions. And if my spouse is open and honest with me and vulnerable with me and sharing with me his or her dreams and aspirations or goals, okay? So when we talk about supporting your spouse, what we're simply saying is ask your spouse what his or her dreams are. And then do everything that you can do within your power to encourage your spouse in pursuing the dream, right? Supporting your spouse, being there with your spouse cheering your spouse on as they're trying to achieve this goal of theirs. And that's really what it means to support your spouse. When we talk about support, most times what we think about, and this is not a fault, it is more influenced by culture, by tradition, and all of that. But what we think about first is money. How much money can I give my spouse? What kind of home can I put my spouse in? What kind of car can I buy for my spouse? And for some spouses, that may be what they need. But most of the spouses that I have encountered, what they're really looking for is someone to be their ride or die when they're trying to pursue whatever it is they've set their mind to, maybe since they were even a kid. Okay, so let's say your spouse's biggest desire is to have a college degree, and maybe they have not been able to achieve that because of life circumstances. Now your spouse comes to you and say, I want to go back to college. The way you're going to support your spouse is to not say, well, how are you going to do that when we have children, right? If that's the case. Or how are you going to do that when we're trying to build a house? Or how are you going to do that when we're struggling? What you want to do is to say, okay, I hear that. And since it's been a dream of yours, and I know that it will make you feel better about yourself, feel satisfied in life, feel empowered, I want to do everything in my power to support that. So let's explore our options. What things do we need to do? What things we need to put in place so that you can pursue this goal or dream of yours? That's how you're supporting your spouse. Or let's say your spouse has this goal to retire early, and he or she has made it very clear, I don't want to keep working all of my life. What that means is you all are going to have to be saving, right? Doing all of the right things financially, being financially responsible so that your spouse is able to achieve that goal, right? Or live out that dream of retiring early. So you want to sit down with that spouse and say, okay, what is it going to take for you to do that? What do we have to do as a team for you to be able to retire early, to get to that place where you can, live your life the way you want to? And then you work together as a team, whether it's budgeting, whether it's cutting back, right? Or whether it's increasing work hours, whatever it takes. You're going to come together and you're going to try to achieve that goal or to live out that dream, right? Or maybe your spouse's dream, again, is just for the two of you to really be good friends. And I'm talking about both ways here. So it's not one person has the dreams and I'm going to just support the dreams one way. It's both people supporting each other, right? So maybe one person's dream is just to be friends, really good friends with their partner. So you're going to focus on what it takes to achieve that. What does it mean for us to be good friends? Maybe it's reading the books together or going to couples workshops and seminars together and learning the tools to be able to be good friends to each other. Or maybe it's just really setting time aside every day so that we get to know each other better, because that's really how you become good friends with people, right? So doing whatever it takes to become good friends, we're going to work on that together. Maybe a spouse's dream is to stay home and raise the kids. It could be the husband, it could be the wife. What is it going to take for us to achieve that? Maybe one person work more, or maybe we'll cut back a lot because we have a decent income that is coming towards us. So we're going to cut back a lot in the way we spend so that we can provide the time and space for the spouse to do that. That's what it means to support your spouse. Now, somebody's going to say, well, what if I don't believe in this person's dream? What if the dream is not reasonable? You don't have to believe the dream to support your spouse. And I know it doesn't sound right, but here's what I mean. So again, maybe your spouse may have a dream of, well, let's not use that one. Maybe your spouse has a dream of owning his or her own business. And that person comes to you and they say, listen, I want to open up a business. And maybe you feel like you don't have all of the resources between the two of you to do that. You don't want to say to your spouse, you know, how crazy can you be? I mean, look at our account. We don't have the money. We're going to do this. You know, I don't even think this is going to prosper, right? I don't see you succeeding. Who are your mentors? Have you even looked into having mentors? How are you going to do this business? No, you want to say, what have you done already to live out this dream? What things have you put in place? And then your spouse may share, right? And then you say, okay, what things do we need to do as a team so that you can do this business and it not cost our family everything that we have? And maybe even by working through that with your spouse, you may come to the understanding, the both of you, that maybe now isn't the time. And maybe your spouse will be completely okay with it simply because you have made a decision to be supportive, meaning to say, I am with you no matter what. I'm not going to discourage you. I'm not going to tear you down. I'm not going to mock you. I'm going to be present with you no matter what. That's really all people need most of the time. And I have seen this with the hundreds and hundreds of clients that I've seen. It's been that. It is, okay, I'm going to see if this person is on my side. I'm going to see if this person cares about me. Are they willing to put aside some of their fears and just walk beside me, knowing that we will be in this together no matter what happens? That's what people want to see. So when we talk about supporting dreams or supporting your spouse, that's really what it comes down to. Sitting with your spouse, being curious. What are your dreams? What are your goals? Or simply put, what are some of the things that you want to do in life before you're 60 or 70? What are some of the things that you want to do? And then have your spouse share with you. And once that person shares with you, then you want to really be engaged. You want to pause. You want to breathe if you're feeling afraid, if you start to feel anxious, because we're humans. And fear is a part of our existence, right? So we want to recognize what we're experiencing as we're processing all of these things together. But if I'm feeling afraid, I can say, I need to take a few minutes to think about this. This sounds really interesting. Let me think about it, or let me pray on it, right? And then you do that. But then you come back, you join your spouse, and you have the conversation, even if it's hard, even if you have fears. You talk about your fears. Say, I'm fearful because, and then you say why. But I still want to support your dream. I still want to support your goals. And I want to be here with you doing this. Because if we don't do that, what you're going to do is you're going to act on your fears. And then you might either come across as being aggressive, or you may come across as being dismissive. And those two things can be dangerous for the marriage. So you really want to pause. You want to ask for time to think. You want to be able to process properly, and then come back to your spouse and have the conversation. Or if you're okay having the talk right there and then get into it. Have that conversation. But don't do it if you're afraid or anxious, because it is not going to end well. You want to do it when you have thought about it, when you can reason with your spouse, and you can come to a solution that's beneficial for the marriage as a whole. So I hope this is helpful for you. If you have other questions regarding this, feel free to ask that in the comment, and I will do another video expanding more on this. But I think this is such an important topic, and in fact, as I was preparing for this, I thought about a colleague of mine who I went to school with. I remember she would come to school, and it wasn't easy for her going up and down the stairs. It was somewhat challenging, and the husband, of course, knew this, but she was in grad school. And he would come every chance he had. He came with her to school. And I just remember thinking, I'm doing marriage and family, and I'm sitting there processing all that I'm learning. And it was so beautiful to see the way he supported his wife through her graduate program. Now, I don't know what happened in undergrad, but I know what I saw when I was present throughout our time in seminary, completing grad school. He would come whenever he was off from work for the weekend. If she took weekend courses or extensives for the week, he would come, he would accompany her to class, he would bring her bag, put the bag down for her, and then he would go out and do whatever he had to do. And because we commuted, so he was in a different city with her coming. And then he will go out and get lunch, and he will come back and meet her for lunch, and they'll have lunch together, and then we'll continue class, and he'll wait for her outside, and he'll come and get her after class and take her down. And she's done with school now. She is now working in the field. I'm still in contact with them somewhat, and I see them still together. And it's a beautiful thing. How could you ever go wrong with a spouse like that? How could you ever go wrong with a spouse like that? Right? And if you are a spouse where your spouse hasn't been supportive up until now, but he or she is trying, then I'm going to encourage you to give that person the grace to be able to love you well now, beginning today. Right? Maybe they're watching this video, or maybe they just gain insight some way, somehow, and now they're able to be present with you, and they want to support you. They want to encourage you. They want to be your greatest cheerleader, right? They want to be there in the wee hours with you when you're trying to run that business or raise those kids, or when you're not feeling well, or you want to try a new medication, right? Maybe you're sick, and you're battling an illness, and you want to try a new drug, and maybe your spouse has been afraid, but he or she has gained the courage and is willing now to walk through this with you. I want to encourage you to give that spouse the chance to do that, because we're all humans, and we all feel afraid at different times, and we all deserve grace. So I want to encourage you to do that with your spouse or for your spouse. Okay, so I'm going to end here for today. If you have any questions, again, put that below. Let's engage each other, because I love that. I love getting your feedback, and I love responding and researching more and bringing you more information. Again, if you're new to the village, please like the video, comment below, subscribe to the channel, share the video. It helps to build the algorithm, which I don't really quite understand well, but I know that it's supposed to help us, and more people can get this information. Because for me, that really is the purpose of making the video, so that more people get the information and more marriages are healthy and healed if healing needs to take place. All right. So God bless you. God keep you safe. May your marriage continue to prosper and your family continue to do well. May all that you pray for in life come to fruition. And I'll see you back here next time in the village. You take good care. Bye-bye.